So the ADME Awards, we have 3 types of awards that we give awards for at ADME. We have Achievement Awards, Excellence Awards, and Recognition Awards. All 3 are really important and feature different aspects of the destination management company and our hospitality industry. The first one is Achievement Awards. Now, this looks at a program in its complete and total program itself. So it's going to have all of the different aspects, and it needs to meet the criteria found in the information that you can find online. So it has to have, you know, whether it be A's and D's or dine-arounds, tours, it has to have shuttles, transportation, production if you do that within your company, and it's all listed there. And you can look at those particular programs that you have in your arsenal and see which one of these achievement awards it might fall under. We have Best Innovative Event, which is by event budget. So we have 6 different categories there. We also have Best Logistics for transportation logistics. We also have additional categories of Best Creative Activity, which are broken down into 6 different categories of team building, tour, Best Recreational Activity, Best Public Event, Best Destination Marketing, and Best Corporate Social Responsibility Program. Then we also have the Best Overall Program, where we feel that a particular program has met all of the criteria for many or most of the best tour program, recreation, public, maybe destination marketing, and you want to submit it for an overall program award. So some of the criteria that the Achievement Award entries must include are a 1,000-word description detailing answers to the criteria specific to that award category. This, once again, can be found in the information that's online under the Achievement Awards on the ADME website. Also, which varies by category, the event budget. This is the final amount the client was billed, including all fees paid by clients directly to vendors. We also require a letter from the client referring to their satisfaction with the event and the DMC and approving the submission for the ADME Award. Now, this is required. However, judges will not see this letter. This letter is for administrative purposes only and will not be made public. If you need to find a sample letter and don't know how to ask for a letter referring from your client, you can find a sample on the ADME website, and I've posted that particular web address there on the bottom of the screen.
Right, and let me just say, the letter from the client is because in some previous years we had, we found out later that there were some clients that weren't happy with an event, and when they found out that they won an award, they were even less happy. And so it's not good enough that the award is deemed to be excellent by your peers. Your client has to agree with that as well.
Correct, absolutely, and that's perfect and great comment, Fran. One thing that I can suggest is that if there is a particular program that you're thinking of including for an ADME Award, let's say if it's this year or even next year as you're pre-planning, maybe talk to your client in advance and let them know that this is a particular program that you would love to submit for an ADME Award. Tell them about our association and give them that information, and tell them that together you want to really make this program a complete success so that you can win an award. And then once you do win, make sure you do get an extra award to send to your client to thank them for allowing you to share their program with the rest of us.
Yeah, Carol, you've purchased an extra award that you presented to your clients?
Yes, we have. And they loved that. It made them really feel part of the process. I was also going to comment, while you will get a great letter and they say, yes, submit it, just casually ask if their supervisor knows about it.
Good point.
Good comment. All right. So aside from a letter from the client, there are a couple of other things that the Achievement Awards entries must also include when you're entering them online onto the awards portal. you can have a maximum of 12 photos that support the particular program, but make sure that there are no company logos, if your client has forbidden it, or any of the logos or your company name in any of those photos, including staff. Support materials must be uploaded with your entry, but it's limited to 10 items. Now, this could be samples of fabric swatches, menus, invitations, drawings, graphics, maps, any type of collateral, video if you have it, and maybe if you did a conference URL or a web registration website. You'll also need to include a couple of very important documents. One of which is the judge's description. This 100-word description cannot include your company's name or logo and will be used by the judges as a summary for your entry. So those of you who have never entered an award before for ADME, listen up. We will have a very large group of judges that are from all over the world. And so if you happen to be, let's say, in Barcelona, or if you happen to be in LA, the judges who are looking at your particular entry are not going to be in your locations. So this is going to be completely and 100% anonymous. What also is included is you'll need to do a publicity description. Now, this one can include your company's name, and it'll be used for publicity purposes, such as a publication about the awards event program and the reading of the finalists, and, of course, for that coveted ADME media press release.
Okay, let me add something about the publicity description, because I got a question from someone who hadn't entered the Achievement Awards before, and they said, is this publicity description about our company? No, this is publicity description about your event.
Exactly.
So it's basically, this is Nicole, it's basically your exact same judge's description, but where you just say, you know, our company did blah, 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 you're now saying your actual company name. You're literally changing 2 or 3 words in the publicity description to include your company name once or twice within it.
Because this is about you. If you're the award winner, that's what goes out to the press, so you want your name out there. I want to reach back to one question. It might be the obvious, but when I first read it, I was questioning as well. On the support materials, maximum of 10 items, fabric swatch. How do you upload a fabric swatch?
You know, that's a great question, and I normally just put it as a photo, or I put it in as a PDF, and I take a picture of it. But typically, it will be included as one of our photos, and so it'll be a beautiful table design, and you can see the linen kind of up close, or you see the design of the table up close. Honestly, I think if somebody can do a fabric swatch, you know, through a support material, great. But I don't think I've ever had one myself.
When the 3D printer comes online, right?
Exactly. But just think of those things when you're collecting information or you're looking at your programs. It's a great thing to remember that just because you took a picture of the overall room, don't forget the details. So if you did a lot of decor and that's what you're doing the best creative event, then don't forget the little things, because those might have been spectacular as well. So taking a close-up of your centerpiece, or maybe including a sketch of it and then showing the centerpiece after it was completed, might really kind of boost your credibility with the judges. But that's a great question. I thought about that too.
Okay,
I just saw Alton's question come through in the judge's description. If it's okay for the host city or venue to be named, yes.
Yes.
As long as it's not your company name, that's what can't be identified to the judges.
Correct.
Exactly. And, you know, for some cities like Kansas City, there's a chance that it's only one DMC in that company. But to Michelle's point of view, we have an international group of judges, and they may not know who the DMC in Kansas City is. So
correct.
Okay. Nicole, thanks I'm trying to keep my Zoom group chat off of the recording, so. Okay.
So moving on to Excellence Awards. So Excellence Awards, these are identified in a specific component of the destination management company. So professionalism, it's commitment to best practices, it's high standards of excellence. That's all the heart of the Excellence Awards. These should have had a positive effect on the client's program, as well as demonstrate innovative and program-based solutions and provide models for others to follow. These recognize creativity, skill, ingenuity, intuitiveness, and we have currently, I think it's 10 categories. So we have risk and crisis management, technical production, entertainment production, event decor and design, incentive travel programming or services, site inspection, meeting services, technology integration, sustainable initiatives, and cultural and traditional integration. So keep in mind, you might do a fabulous, amazing site visit for a client. You can use that for an ADME award. So the ADME Excellence Award entries must also include a 1,000-word description detailing the answers that are also in the supporting document that you can find on the ADME website for each specific category. Now, the one thing about Excellence Awards is you do not actually need a client letter on file for an Excellence Award, but we certainly hope that your client was really excited and very pleased with the process and the attention that you gave them for your program. You'll also be limited to one single PDF document that should not exceed 12 pages or 5 meg, and this PDF can include photos, drawings, samples, graphics, maps, printed collateral, anything that you can possibly put in there that will help support the actual Excellence Award, whether it be in technical production, entertainment production, any of those awards that you might be putting this particular program in for. You'll also need, for an Excellence Award, same as with the Achievement Awards, you'll need the 100-word judge's description and the 100-word publicity description. Once again, it's not a publicity description of your company, but of the actual award that you are, documenting for this Excellence Award.
Okay, Michelle, I have an event that I think would qualify for the best creative event in a budget category and in event decor design. Can I enter them in both places?
Absolutely. You can definitely enter a program more than once and in multiple categories as long as your supporting document answers the specific questions that are for that particular category.
Okay.
Great question, Fran. Then the third type of awards are recognition awards, and this is an opportunity for us to recognize our peers, industry leaders, and nominate them for an ADME Recognition Award. By the way, you can also nominate yourself if you'd like, but this is a great opportunity to help someone else maybe in your organization or someone that you know in the industry to really shine. These awards are presented in conjunction with the ADME Achievement Awards ceremony, which will of course be at the Hotel Arts in Barcelona in January. The 4 different categories that we have this year are Volunteer of the Year, Destination Management Rising Star of the Year, Destination Management Professional of the Year, and of course our Hall of Fame and Lifetime Achievement Award. So the volunteer recognizes an individual whose valuable service and selflessness and commitment to ADME has made a significant difference in the advancement of ADME. We also have the Rising Star of the Year, which is recognizing an outstanding individual who's been in the DMC industry for 5 years or less. So think of those great, maybe millennials or those that you've hired newly into the company, and make sure you give them a shout out. The Destination Management Professional of the Year recognizes individuals given their time, dedication, leadership, and knowledge towards the advancement of the destination management industry. So someone maybe that might be a mentor to you, or somebody in the industry who has you've long admired. This would be a great person to nominate for that award. And then our Hall of Fame Lifetime Achievement recognizes individuals that may be at the end of their DMC career. And we really do want to thank them for all that they have done for our organization and for us.
Okay, let me just say that the judging team for this are past winners of the Rising Star and Professional of the Year. So this is a little different. We are taking people from the industry to judge these events. Also, there was a question about how do you pay if you've entered more than one category? That's an excellent.
Oh, that's a good question.
At the end, as you go through the awards entry system, you will be able to complete each entry to the point of payment. And if you want just one charge for all three events, after you have finished all of the entering of submission information for each of the categories, you then go to the payment screen. And the most important thing is that things have to be paid for by the deadline.
Correct.
Okay. Carol, you need to be clear whether it is Michelle breaking up or me breaking up, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, let's move on.
So the recognition awards is a two-step process. The ADME member may nominate a colleague or themselves for any of the recognition awards. The nominee then the nominees must be owners or staff of an ADME member company, and the nominator simply submits the name and reason for the nomination by the first entry date, and we will review all of those dates here shortly. The nominee will then be notified and will be instructed on how to fill out the remainder of the necessary items for that specific nomination.
And the nominee will be notified as to who is nominating them if it's not a self-nomination.
Correct. So you know who to thank. So all recognition award nominees then provide a 1,000-word description detailing the answers once again to the criteria specific for their award category. They also produce or submit a high-resolution photo for publicity purposes, 2 letters of recommendation or support from an employer, a vendor, a client, or industry peer. And then once again, they will also need to do a publicity description. And this 100-word description should include the entrant's name and their company name, and of course will be used when we do our ADME media press releases and during the ADME Awards presentation. So what do we need to know? How to choose an award to submit for either an achievement or an excellence award. So this program must have occurred between the 1st of September 2015 and the 31st of August 2016. So if you've got a program this week that you think would be perfect, you still have time. Only ADME member companies are eligible to submit. Very important. All award entries must be submitted online via the deadline given. And we're going to go over those dates once again in a few minutes. Payment must also be received online before the entry will be considered. If you don't pay by the deadline, your entry is then not considered. Award entries must not include the company name, logo, photograph of team members, or any of your staff uniforms.
And let me say, and I know Nicole will probably chime in, we will not tell you that you have been disqualified because you have put your name in the award entry. And candidly, there have been some awards that have entries that have been absolutely great, but they disqualified themselves. So
be very careful in your review process.
Yeah, and Carol, I think, makes the point that you have to have a fresh pair of eyes review everything. So here are the places where we've seen people trip up. You have your company name on your schedule of services that you've included in your supporting documentation. You have your logo on a transportation sign. There are just places where it's just clear that the person who was doing the entry didn't show it to anybody else and say, can you see our name anywhere? And that's what you need to do. Carol, you have any comments about that?
Well, yeah, for sure. Giving it to a fresh pair of eyes is integral because you've looked at the picture too many times and you've looked at the words too many times. The find and replace on a Word document is great to search by not just your whole company name, but pieces of your company name to see where they show up. And then just ask a fresh pair of eyes, look at all the pictures. Do you see any of our faces or our logo or anything that identifies? And it's not a negative against you to take that very picture and blur out the face or blur out the logo. That's acceptable. You won't get dinged for that.
That's a great idea. Nicole, do you have anything else to add to this? Because you've been pretty good about pointing that or finding those things.
Yeah, I think like Carol said, the search and replace, even in an Excel document as well, looking for any type of name. I even remove employee names. So if our director of operations is listed on the scheduled services, I remove that out, or at least the last name, just so it's not identifiable. But yeah, it's huge to go through every document. It can be anywhere. And I thought I've caught all mine and someone else catches another one.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very helpful.
Okay. Moving right along.
So what's the plan of attack? You should definitely make a plan to submit awards at the beginning of the year, immediately following the annual ADME conference. You can then identify potential future programs as winning events and hire a photographer to capture professional and action shots. I got to tell you, when we were submitting for a couple of awards in the past, we thought we had really great photos of an event, and then come to find out that they aren't high resolution JPEGs, and they were very, very grainy or blurry, or they weren't the shots we were looking for. And that's kind of a bummer when you really are trying to put something together and you really want to get your point across. Same with, tour programs, transportation logistics. There are ways to get photos that don't have logos or company names in it, so be creative. Add the award submission dates to your company calendar. It's always really helpful if the rest of the team is involved. Include awards fees to the annual budgets, because you don't want to come up with no cash at the time that you need it the most. Include the entire office and team in the process, as well as, can we go to the next slide?
Let me just...
I get some comments and feedback?
Yeah, let me just say, if you're hiring a professional photographer, be very clear to him that you are going to be submitting the photographs for an award presentation. And if you want to tell them that you're going to credit them for it, that's even better. But, a professional photographer will know what qualities you're going to be looking for.
Exactly. And this is where we were also, Carol and Fran and Nicole were also chiming in earlier, that read through the entire criteria thoroughly. Does the entire entry require a letter of recommendation from the client? And do you have that letter? Start collecting your supporting materials throughout the event process, and make sure to answer all the questions for the particular event that you are entering. You have to treat it almost like a client RFP. Make sure you answer all the questions.
Okay,
Michelle,
Yes.
You mentioned start thinking about it right after this current ADME. You need to start thinking about it sooner than that, because the window for the 2018 awards will start in 2 weeks, because it'll start in September 1. So as you're going through fall of 16, you need to be thinking about awards that are happening in February of 18.
I know
that's
that
true.
some companies actually sit down and take a look at their business on their books for the next quarter, and at a staff meeting say, which of these events do you think will be able to submit? And then, again, you're involving the entire team and you're thinking about it in advance. We also have a question, what if we are using a third-party company? Does their name to be out of the picture? That's you know, we don't have any specific disqualifications for vendor names. However, if you've got a vendor, if you're using a division of your company as a vendor, their name ought not to be in it either.
Also, was the question something along the lines of perhaps, is it a third-party incentive house that you're working with and not the end client? So, for example, if you are submitting an award for, let's say, Merit, and the end client is, you know, XYZ company, then you need your client, if it's Merit or whomever that third party is, that's who you need to get the letter from. And you have to actually ask them to reach out to the end client. But your client was the third-party incentive house, so no, you cannot have their name anywhere in the awards entry unless they allow it, and most of the time they will not.
Right, and the question specifically was a third-party motor coach company. I think that's less of a problem.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Okay.
So some
I
helpful
would
hints.
just add to that.
Oh, sure.
Unless there's a really relevant reason to include it, it's probably not applicable. You know, if you're going to throw a vendor's name in there, unless it's a huge part of why you were successful with that program, it's really not relevant and unnecessary.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good
Thanks,
point.
Nicole. Yeah, good point. So helpful hints. Use your resources. Assign team members tasks to make the entry of the event timeline smooth when the time comes. Ask team members for post-program feedback in case you missed a key element. Are there any other hints that you think? Can you?
Yeah, let me jump in just about the entry process. You can save your entry and come back to it, but I think that it's really a lot easier if you've got everything in front of you, and even then you will find that you're missing things. So I'm going to turn it over to the experts now.
I usually do everything in just a Word document and then cut and paste. So I can count words in the Word document.
Yes.
I can do everything there, and I have everything compiled. My pictures are in a separate folder, and everything lives separately from the actual program itself. And then I kind of cut it down from there. But everything lives in Word, so you can check, you know, spelling mistakes. You can check word count, and it's actually more of a character count, unless that got changed. But everything should live in Word, and then just cut and paste it into the system. When you're done with one of the awards, you can kind of finalize that and know that you're done, but then keep working on the others if you're submitting more than one.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I do everything in Word and then do the cut paste into the actual form. And my biggest thing is this takes a lot of time. Don't think you're going to start on it the day before it's due, because you're going to get frustrated with the process. If you plan it out like you plan your events, and have a plan of attack and who's going to do what, and whether that's you do it all yourself or you have your whole team do pieces of it, you need to allow adequate time to do this well.
Absolutely. That's great advice, Carol.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't, it's not a couple of hour process. I know that we've submitted multiple entries in the past and even last year, and it takes several days. And
Yes.
not only that, but also to get people in your office, on your team, to review those entries to make sure, once again, you have an extra set of eyes on them, make sure you didn't miss any important attachments or anything that needed to be in any of the categories. Great advice.
Yeah, something else, because of the awards entry system, you don't try to make your description graphically pretty with dot points, bullet points, etc. You're not going to be able to control how the judges see it other than with paragraphs. What you can control are your supporting documentation, because you're uploading a PDF and you're going to see exactly how they're going to see it. So And remember that everybody's attention span is pretty limited these days, so make your paragraphs short and to the point.
Fran, can you address for everybody about the size of the PDF and how to adjust that? Because I know that comes up here and we have to work through that every year.
Right. Now, if you're creating a PDF from a PowerPoint, which a lot of people do, there is a way that you can go into the PowerPoint and compress your photos. So and use your PowerPoint help screen. Just type in compress photos. You can compress a photo on one screen, or you can select a photo and there is a menu selection that says compress all the photos in this in the PowerPoint presentation. That's going to save you a ton of space.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Nothing is more frustrating than you get to the upload process and you get screeching breaks because there's too much memory and it won't accept it.
And remember that some of your photos, especially if they're taken by professional photographers, each photo is going to be 2 meg. Let me tell you, the judges are looking at this probably on their laptop or even their iPad. You don't have to worry that you've got things in super high resolution. It's going to save you the frustration that Carol is talking about. You can use your simple paint program to take the size of your photos, keep reducing it by 50% until it's a reasonable size. Nicole,
Great advice.
Yeah, Nicole, do you have anything on just the uploading of the program or the entry information?
No.
Okay, we'll move on. Let's see.
So take your time. Set a calendar deadline a week before the actual award submissions are due so that there is enough time to reread entries and enter them into the award portal. Have more than one person review and edit the write-ups, and entering the information on the site will take a long time, especially if you're submitting more than one entry. So don't wait until the last minute. And I think we've all kind of said that already. But are there any other helpful hints from our past winners?
That made my list.
Fantastic. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Nicole.
Yeah. Let me just say that when you're submitting your entries, we're glad to help you at the office, but we're not here after 5 o'clock. We're definitely not here at 11:59 on the day that our awards are due. And for the most part, things go smoothly. Where they don't go smoothly are the people who are just pushing it. It's really clear they have absolutely waited until the last minute. And it's going to be to your detriment. Even if you have things to finish up, we strongly suggest that you start doing your entry during the admin office working hours. We're on Eastern time, so we're talking 9 to 5 Eastern time. So that means if you're on Mountain time and you're doing it at 5 o'clock, that's at 7 o'clock, and we're home eating dinner. So you just need to remember that.
And I will say, Fran, the awards website's gone through growing pains and edits, but the last couple of years, it's a solid program. So if you're having tons of challenges uploading, you might want to go back and reread the process because it shouldn't be that hard. It's what that's saying about IKEA furniture. If it's hard to put together, you're not doing it right. So this has gone through a lot of growing pains. It's in a good place. It's in a good place.
Okay.
It's a plug and play at this point, I
Yeah,
think. So long as you have your documents, supporting documents, your PDFs, and your Word documents ready for cutting, pasting, and uploading, it really is a very easy process. You just gathering all that information, I think, was what takes the longest. And if you're doing multiple entries, that takes a little while as well, because you don't want to forget anything.
And I see we have a comment from Ben to everybody where he says it's no problem. We just call you early in the morning. Yes, Ben, you know that I get up about 7 or 8 o'clock. I've had some lovely chats with you at Starbucks. So that's true. We do. Feel free to email us with questions, because I'll tell you that Roxy and I often do the check the email, especially during awards deadline time, so that we're getting information and quick questions back to you. One other point that I'd like to make out is that it doesn't matter that you established an account for last year's award entries. You have to start a new account for this year. There are too many changes in company names and individuals and passwords. We just have you start fresh each year.
Great point. So what are our registration timelines? Here is the registration timelines. So September 1st is when the date that was beginning date for eligible programs. And then next Wednesday, that's 1 week from today, is the early entry deadline, where you get a $25 savings. And it's the cutoff for all eligible programs as well. Then your nominations for recognition awards for your peers or industry colleagues is September 30th. The regular entry deadline is then October 14th. That's regular rates. Then your late entry deadline is 2 short weeks after, at October 28th, which is an additional $25 late fee if you waited that long. That way, our judges can then jump right in and start judging right away, so that by the 30th of November, finalists are notified. And then if you have an ADME Achievement Award, we will notify you to do a storyboard that will then be due to ADME for posting on the website by December 14th. And then, of course, the awards gala is at the Hotel Arts in Barcelona on January 21st. Van, did you want to add anything to any of these deadlines?
Of course I did. Thank you. Let me just switch this. Okay, there are a couple of things. First of all, the regular entry deadline is the Friday before IMEX America, and the late entry deadline is the week after IMEX America. So those of you that we're going to be seeing in Las Vegas, it actually, the timing worked out very nicely this year. We are firm about October 28th because we meshed this with the ADME, which is about 3 weeks earlier this year. And your reservations have to be made at the hotel by the 9th of December. And we are committed to having everybody notified by the 30th of November so that you can make your hotel reservations for the people in your company if you're a finalist. The storyboard art. If you've got questions about the storyboards, if you go to the ADME website and you go under Achievement Awards, click on that, you're going to be able to see the storyboards from past winners. That will give you a good idea. Now, I will tell you, for those of you in the DMC network, they have a standard look. Some of the other consortia have a standard look. Some of them don't. The point is that this is a way for you, with your company name on it, to put forward the great program that you did. The other thing about writing an entry, Nicole, do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to talk about that?
If you want to, and then I can fill in.
Okay. I have to tell you, in reviewing the entries over the years, it is just absolutely amazing to me how someone can take a great program and make it sound like the most mundane, ordinary program. And when you do that, the judges are not going to pay attention to it. So, every DMC can put on a great program. What you really need to focus on in the entry are the goals you had, how you achieved them, what the problems were, how you solved them, and how you were in the best position to make this event shine. Those are the things that the judges are looking at. When you get to the category of best of program, that's usually a large category. We've had 15, 20 entries, and we have the same team of judges who judge all of the entries in the category. So you have to do something to make your entry really stand out. So, and Carol, I'm going to poke at you because, you know, you wouldn't feel right if I didn't poke at you. It's not just that you had Brad Paisley singing
Right.
at your event.
Anybody can buy Brad Paisley for a concert.
Right. That's not it. But if you had a corporate social responsibility element and you had Brad Paisley, you convinced Brad Paisley to get involved by visiting the Children's Hospital beforehand. I'm just kind of pulling this out of the air. Something that's a little bit different than a big name entertainment person coming in just to do their gig for which you're paying them thousands of dollars.
Right. Well, we did win Best Overall in 2014, and it was for an entire program called Come Fly With Me. And it had to do with world travel, and it was all built around the old Eastern Airline Pan Am flight attendants. So there was a lot of custom music done, a lot of custom choreography, work with the company's CEO, and it had a lot of legs. That event had a lot of legs and a lot of goals, and I really feel strongly that's why it won.
But it's also how you described it as well, you know, in the award submission. I'm sure it was very captivating and not just blah, blah, blah. And that's what we have to learn to avoid, is that we're not just regurgitating what the program was, but we have to give it that life, that pizzazz, that interesting, answering the questions for the specific category, but also just giving that little extra, like, and we did this in order to overcome that, and why that was so successful and what the client thought about it.
Nicole, you won, I think, 1 or 2 awards for that special private event, that family event that you did.
Yep.
And you want to talk about how you positioned that event for a couple of categories?
Sure. We did we don't do much social, but this was a very wealthy gentleman's 50th birthday party. You know, the entertainment was unique. So we entered it as, you know, from that standpoint. There was a team building element of the whole program that we entered separately as well. And then the overall event, you know, in itself. I think the big thing that everybody is kind of alluding to is what makes it special. We can all do a tour program. We can all throw an event. You know, when you're looking at potentially what you're going to enter, and when you're writing it up, what makes it unique? What makes it challenging? What makes it different? You know, all DMCs are fabulous, but why you and why this specific event is award worthy is really what you need to get across.
That's right. And, you know, transportation, I know, is an interesting category because there could be nothing more boring than having a bunch of motor coaches pull up and drop off people and pick them up. So in the transportation category, there is you have to explain the magnitude of the problem. If you're doing the largest group transfer in your city by far, you have to be very clear about why it was the largest transfer, what were the problems that needed to be addressed, how you were able to move X thousand people in 20 minutes. You need to be, that's an area where you really need to have your facts and figures very concisely. So you can think about, kind of your elevator speech that you're giving to the judges. Here are the reasons why this deserves an award.
And kind of on that, we've submitted in that particular category multiple years and have never even been a nomination. So what we thought was, an outstanding transportation program wasn't even a finalist. We'd actually finally won that category this year. So I recommend even going back. Fran, are all the archived storyboards online?
Yes, they are.
So when you're thinking about submitting in a category, maybe go back through and read some of the previous winners of what made them special. And, kind of look back through them. And sometimes, as much as we think a program is fantastic, I'll really think about it and I'm like, it's not going to win. I know people out there did, a bigger event or a bigger program, or, something that was more unique and more wow, and we just don't waste our time on it unless there is a compelling reason or something different, unique, super challenging, very different from, what's been done in the past. It's not worth our headaches and weeks of time to enter something in.
Right.
So definitely go back and look at those old storyboards.
And I'm going to echo that. And I know, Fran, you talked about in transportation and magnitude of number of buses. Don't take the word magnitude as just number of buses. Take it as magnitude of the transfer move. Was it, I think about Boston during the big dig. I can't imagine trying to get vehicles around during that. It may be a small number of vehicles, but the magnitude of what had to be accomplished is the focus, not that there were 150 motor coaches on the road. We've, like you, we've never won, Nicole. I think you've won now. We haven't, but we've been nominated several times, and it's because of the magnitude of the goal, not necessarily the number of vehicles.
One of the other things just on transportation is I've seen entries where the transportation didn't require motor coaches, but required something really out of the ordinary. I used to belong to a Corvette club. If you can get 100 Corvette owners willing to transport 100 VIPs in a two-seater car, someone's going to stand up and take notice about that.
Right.
So that's another way of looking at it.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons why we're really recommending that you spread the writing of the descriptions over, because, Carol and Nicole often submit multiple entries. And I'm sure that your eyes glaze over on writing these entries, and you just can't bring it fresh. And Nicole, when you entered that one event for, I think, 3 different categories, while some of the commentary was the same, which is okay because it's going to different judges, you really worked hard to personalize each of those entries to the category.
Yeah, and I go back to the questions are different. So what the requirements are for each specific category is different. So it could be, like you said, some of it's the same, but you're also changing the content to answer the question and fit more with that specific category. So the overall event, I had one little paragraph about team building, So I essentially started from scratch to do the team building, the team building entry from that event.
And I'm not a good writer. I am not a good writer. I'm a good editor. My team does a better job at writing. I can edit.
So now here's another point, and then we have, what are the questions that people are referring to? If you go back to your entry instructions, it will tell you what is to be covered in your 1,000-word description, and the judges' questions are in order of that entry description. So answer the questions in the order that they are in the description. Don't make the judges jump around.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, and let's see what our next slide is. Come on. Okay. You want to cover the award entry fees, and then I'm sure, Michelle, that we'll have a few other things to add.
Absolutely. So the award entry fees. So we had discussed the deadlines, and so your excellence awards are this year $120 if you get in on the early entry deadline. The actual regular fee is $145, and then the fee, if you miss the regular entry deadline, the late fee is $170. For achievement awards, the early entry deadline is $170. Your actual deadline on the 14th of October is $195 is the cost, and the late fee for achievement awards is on the 28th of October, and it's $220. Now, we do not charge for any of the recognition awards. Those are all at no charge and complimentary this year. So if anybody has any questions about the charges, this is all in U.S. dollars and all done via the awards portal and website.
And your credit card will take care of all the exchange fees. And let me just say this. Sometimes, the people who wait till the last minute and they're doing 7 or 8 entries, and, occasionally we have payment failures on the award site. So we're going to know, I'm sorry about that. We're going to know that we've had a suspicious transaction. The most likely reason is that there is a mismatch, an ADS mismatch, and those of you in your own company that deal with credit cards, you know that the algorithm is that the street number and the zip code must meet exactly, as well as the name on the card. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. And we have had some problems with Authorize.net, so we've got our security pretty high, and we do ask for the 3 or 4 digit code. So we check these regularly. So we really urge you not to wait until midnight on the 28th. And by the way, that's midnight Pacific time, so that's 3 a.m. Eastern time. We try to be fair, and Pacific time is just about the farthest away. We're not going to give Hawaii that extra hour or two. Besides, at some point you guys need really to go to sleep. And we also, let me make sure of this before I say this, so that I'm saying this accurately. In October, the deadline is on a Friday evening. Some years we've given you until Sunday, but those are the years that we've had more problems over the weekend that we haven't been able to troubleshoot. So, are there other questions? You can write in your chat box. This is the time that you can pick the brains of the two companies that have won a lot of awards. I had a question earlier, and that was, why do some companies win year after year after year? Okay, it's because they're really good at writing their entries. It is of no other reason. The ADME staff has no control over who wins. And if you want to see the information about the entire awards process, it is on the ADME awards page. Michelle and her committee did a great job of making sure that the whole process is very transparent. You have individual judges judging different categories. If we have a smaller number of entries in a category, we may give a judging team 2 categories to judge. A judging team is never assigned to a DMC in their city. So we do what we can to avoid someone who is trying to help, is trying to favor a DMC in their city. And I gotta tell you, most of the entries come from cities where there's more than one DMC, and as a judge, you might think that you're helping someone and you're really giving somebody else the benefit. Also, the people on the awards committee have nothing to do with the judges or the judging. They are notified about the finalists at the same time everybody else is notified. Okay, we have another question. Let me check on that. Oh, okay, goodbye.
Fran, I'll just add, can I add to that as well? And you may have kind of covered it, but each of the judges don't know what the other judge judged.
It's absolutely independent. It's done on a numerical basis, and each judge is judging independently. So you have, if you have one judge who is consistently a high scorer, and you have another judge who is consistently a low scorer, that's okay, because it will equal out, and we take the average of the 3 or 4 judges. Are we able to let you know the categories that tend to have fewer categories? I can't tell you that because it honestly changes from year to year. I will tell you that the best of program category is a popular category. But we have, it just depends. There are some years that a category that was really popular the year before, no one, or we only have 3 or 4 entries in the category. Okay, so.
Hey, Fran.
Yep.
Hey, Fran, let me chime in real quick. You had shared with me a really great statistic, and I believe it is that last year only about 18% of our members actually submitted an award. That's not a very high percentage. So if you have been coming to ADME or been an ADME member for many, many years, or maybe if this is your first or second year with the organization and you see the same companies winning awards, that's because they're putting entries in, and they are putting their awards and their programs out there for the judges to judge and to be considered. So if you don't want to see the same companies winning, consider entering 1, 2, 3 awards from your company and giving them a run for their money. So, I saw it. I joined ADME 5 years ago personally, and I was on the awards committee as a committee member before becoming your your director of awards. And my first year, second year, I saw the same companies winning, but that's because they're submitting awards. So that's why I got my team together and said, okay, we've got to give these wonderful companies a run for their money. We do great events too, and I think that's what we're kind of trying to get across in this wonderful webinar today, is to let you know that you too can have a voice, can show all the amazing things that you're doing within your company, and yeah, you can win too. And these are kind of the tools and things that we're going to try to help you with that.
Okay, I've got 2 questions here that I want to share. The first one is, I noticed that winners have had a distinct structure. This is from Andy Gaylord, and I suspect, Andy, that you're looking at the storyboards, and I think the format you're referring to, the overview, request, result, are because they were done by the DMC network, and that's the way they chose to present their storyboard. If you remember, you don't have to do a storyboard until you're notified that you're a finalist. So this is the way that you're presenting the entry to the ADME members so that they can make their decision about the Members' Choice Award, which we haven't talked about. The Members' Choice Award is a vote by the people at the conference and the members of what their best, what they like overall, what's the one that's the best. And so I think in your question, you're putting a little bit of the cart before the horse. The storyboards are created after the entries. However, that gets back to my suggestion that if you organize your entry the way we ask for the elements in your description, you're going to be better off for the judges, which leads me to the next question from Nancy. What criteria do you use to choose the judges? And Michelle, I'm going to have you answer that.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Nancy. Actually, on the awards committee, we are tasked to research and reach out to various industry professionals that are not destination management companies within the country, the nation, the world. So we reach out to maybe those individuals who are on the ILIA board, who are not destination management companies, maybe they're vendors in and around the world who work with destination management companies. We're looking for individuals who understand what we do for a living, and understand the basics of the services we provide. And that could be hoteliers, it could be directors of catering convention services, VPs, area directors, it could be clients, it could be meeting planners. So we reach out to a wide variety of non-DMC individuals in the hospitality industry and invite them to judge our awards.
We also use members from PCMA and
MPI, HSMAI.
Exactly. All that hospitality alphabet soup.
Yes.
Okay.
But great question. Glad you asked.
Okay. We want to be sensitive to people's time. We have, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I have one more question here. Oh, okay. That's Nancy just saying that. Do we have any final questions? Okay, let me stop the recording. Thank you, and I'm going to just add a few things.